Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What you're looking at here is a 2002 Honda XR50 or CRF50. I bought this bike 2007, 8, 9 about. My buddy Ryan got it about 2010. We used it at his river property for a little while. Well, he did. I rode it once in a great while when he was there. And for the past 7, 8 years since, it has been sitting in the corner of the garage untouched. Now it's been stored in a hot, dry environment, no moisture whatsoever, so it's got that going for it. Tires are still in pretty good shape. Both are flat. Plastics, they still look fine other than covered in dirt and dust. Now it's been moved around since. It was much dirtier a few days ago when I dragged it home. Let's go through its problems. Twist grip throttle isn't seized, but it only rotates back and forth a 1/4 inch or so. Let's see here. Little petcock valve, pretty rusted. It's on its reserve or on, I don't know which way that points. And the little choke, that's pretty stuck too. I'm thinking the carburetor might be rusted and done for. Could be why it doesn't turn or rotate or open or anything. Or the cable could be shot. I don't know. I'm going to have to take it apart and figure it out. Engine still can rotate, so I don't think it's seized or anything. Chances are what happened was the water and the gas. Well, the gas probably evaporated, leaving the water behind, rusting up that valve and anything that was left of the carburetor. So yeah, kind of want to get it working again. Toot around on the property. Title and registration, that's a whole nother problem. It was last registered in 2008. I don't know what we're going to be dealing with there, but yeah, we'll figure it out. So this, yeah, that kind of sucks. The stupid little valve's pretty expensive. Figure something out with that, and the carburetor is probably pretty rusted. That's my prediction. Hopefully the cable is okay. Well, actually, hopefully it just needs a throttle cable, and that's what's rusted, and the carburetor's fine, because throttle cable's $40, carburetor's 140, something like that. Hopefully I don't need to buy a new carburetor for it, but so be it. So let's get the carburetor off, figure out what we can do about that valve, and then see about, we gotta clean the gas tank too. Alright, well, we got some work to do. Alright, make life easy on me, rather than trying to screw around trying to get to everything with the plastics on. Decided to just pop off the plastic in the gas tank. Easier to clean it this way anyway, so not gonna hurt anything. I also need to get a new one of these tubes. Alright, got the gas tank drained. A bunch of green fuel came out of there. Why is it green? Don't know. Don't know if I care. But it's green, so whatever. Let's get the throttle off. Alright, so throttle does not move. So it's probably the carburetor itself that's stuck. Not the end of the world. Alright, took the twist grip throttle off. With any luck, I was able to fit the assembly. Oops, leaking stuff. Better go clean that up real quick before the Gramp sees it, you know what I mean? Until smell-o-vision becomes a thing, you're gonna have to take my word for it, but this thing just reeks. It smells like just mud rust, if that's a thing. Just like the worst gas you've ever smelled, combined with some freshly scraped off rust from some old Ford. Let's get something to get the bowl off. Yep, that's about what I predicted. So we got some heavy varnish. What don't know if I would call this stuff rust or not. Sure looks like it. Bowl, float completely seized in there. As is the pin. Oh, out of there, pin. So the seats the float valve's not coming out. Priming it up. Usually I wouldn't be this destructive, but I think it's done for. I really do. Well, the valve moved. It's got that going for it. The jet, but you know this thing's going to be clogged too. Yeah, pretty nasty. Can't see through it. Probably repairable. But this, see the butterfly here? It's toast. It's not opening at all. This guy should slide right up. It's quite stuck as well. So that's a bunch of unfortunate events. I could probably try prying it up, forcing it up. Something to save the cable. But this thing, I'm sure it's moving. I don't want to remove that screw. I know it'll come out, but I know it'll strip too. I think I'm going to throw it in some carb cleaning bucket for a while. See if it doesn't have any effect. Meanwhile, I'll go look into ordering some parts. Well, it's been a very, very long time, but the remainder of the parts I needed are finally here. Most of them showed up within a couple of weeks. Like the throttle cable here, spark plug, seals, gaskets. That was all here within like 7 days. I bought a cheap Chinese version of the petcock because it was, $9 or whatever, instead of the 80, and I can't tell quality difference. That one's probably fine. New gas tank breather tube thing to replace what's left of this one. I kind of like the orange one, but what do you want to do? Let's see, whatever that is. And then I got a bunch of little parts that I didn't need but I wanted, like an original air cleaner box. This had an aftermarket on it, which I didn't even, I never really paid much attention to this thing. So it was fine with me. And then I realized that I'd rather have it, the way it's supposed to be, so I ordered all the actual parts. One of the longest things, one of the second runner-up anyway, would be the factory air cleaner. That took almost a month to get here, which is silly because it's just a pretty basic common part, but it took forever. Now, the most lengthy, costly, and hardest thing to get was the actual carburetor. This is a genuine Honda carburetor. That's what it looks like. This is the second version, so our choke is a little different. Now you can get a cheap version of this for it's like $25-30. This one was 100 and some change, 102 if I believe correctly, if I remember correctly. Now, is there a difference? I don't know. If I had a unlimited amount of money here, I probably would have bought the two and then just compared them. But I didn't really want to throw any money away, and I wanted this thing to be right, so I spent the extra money for the actual factory carburetor. So now it's just a simple matter of putting it all back together. Now realistically, this shouldn't really take very long. this in correctly. Now the coil right here has been flopping around there the whole time I had it and the whole time my buddy had it. I decided to spend the $1 on the actual screw to be able to put this thing back in where it's supposed to go. Thought that would be a nice little feature. Alright, so let's put this on. This being the carburetor, of course. And there is absolutely no way that's going to fit on there. So that sucks. Alright, well, guess it's time to determine what kind of engine we have here. Because this is definitely not going to fit on there. So that's not fun. So, as it turns out, so here was my original thought when it didn't fit. I was like, okay, this is probably a Honda cover put onto one of those cheap Chinese 50cc little pit bikes you can buy for $100. That was my kind of my fear right off the bat. Like, yeah, crap, did I get hogwashed here? As it turns out, this is actually a Honda motor. It's got the stamp here that matches the number and years as the VIN would have. So we do have a Honda engine. However, we have this kamikaze cylinder and head and intake. So it's probably got one of those 80cc big bore kits installed on it, which would make sense as why it's so deadly and why my carburetor doesn't fit. The problem is, with my stuff, I like them being the way they're supposed to be. I don't necessarily trust other engineers. See, when Honda engineered this, they probably did an excellent job and this thing was probably built just perfectly. You start adding these cheap aftermarket parts onto it, you start having problems, and then good luck finding replacement parts when the time comes, and it may not be all that reliable. That's been my experience. However, that's not always the case. Sometimes these aftermarket parts are perfectly fine. Alright, well, at least I can save my cable. Top. Probably just put all this whole assembly onto the new carburetor when it gets here. I'm going to get these photographed, sell them on the internet. At least list them. I don't know how well they're going to sell. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Maybe I'll wait till the new carburetor gets here. Alright, back. You're going to be sitting for a little while longer. Alright. New carburetor number 2 is here. I did a quick test fit, make sure it was going to fit last night. Looks like we won't have any issues. At least not with it bolting on. I'm sure we'll have issues otherwise. So I got the original throttle cable out. Should be a pretty straightforward little swap. So the choke up is on, down is, no choke. So pretty straightforward on that one. With any luck, this air cleaner I have will fit on there and not get in the way. I don't think it will, but fingers crossed. All right, got myself a new fuel valve. Reviews online on these kind of hit or miss, I think. Some people say they suck, other people say they're fine. Now, personally, I don't think they're worth the money that Honda charges. The original one didn't work that well, so obviously I'm putting this one in. Now, right off the bat, I do see what people are talking about. There's no way that thing's sealing in there. So the plan, to make that seal a little better, is put a little O-ring at the base. And then a little stock valve. That's gonna work. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? There you go. Just to speak more to the quality of these things, it has some massive, this is all millimeter, I'm assuming, fuel line. So you now have a 10 millimeter fuel hose coming out and going into a 3 millimeter fuel fitting. It's just silly. So I guess that's something to consider with these aftermarket parts. So I have a outboard little fuel adapter I kind of ripped up there. Go to a smaller size, but whatever works, right? I mean, it's kind of silly. But what do you do? Alright. Yep, that's just dumb. What am I doing? Fuel line's going to run all the way back now. So this is the stupidest thing ever. So to have the fuel on, you go there, but then you can't work the choke. So I guess run in reserve, you won't have an issue. I don't know, it's just kind of funny. Okay, let's get the plastic back on. And we'll be out trail riding in no time. And of course, the one last thing, our factory Honda spark plug, which I'm assuming is not going to work considering we don't have a Honda cylinder head, but fingers crossed. And now our factory little breather hose thing. Finish off the gas cap. Went right on. At least something's going right. Alright, oil is looked at, spark plug is changed, gas cap is vent hosed again, so I think some gas and we'll see what happens. Well, we're not leaking everywhere, so I think we're on a good start. Let's put on the choke. Key on. Got my riding gear on, so we're good there. Aim it towards the neighbor's house. Let's see what happens. So what'd you think?
It's fun.
Yeah, had a blast. All right, now to demonstrate this thing's primary use. it's been about, I don't know, 3 weeks or so since it's been running. And if you notice, the clear fuel line is now kind of a brown. I don't know if that's the deterioration of the fuel line or if that's the new gas kind of failing. But I really do kind of think that it's the gas because of the fitting. You can kind of see color change. Our gas, I think, is kind of building up more. But anyway, I think there is a problem with today's gas. I think I should put in a little two-way valve in there so I can drain the tank and the carburetor however I can. So when it sits for, even just a short little while, you can still drain the gas out of it and not have this problem again. So I don't know. I think that is kind of a concern. But I will. All right, everybody. I'll see you next time.